Happy New Year, Mike Mafia. I hope 2021 is one of your best years yet. I hope you go in there trying to become the best individual that you can be, setting very good and healthy goals for yourself, and come out of this year not only happy and healthy, but with a sense of accomplishment for becoming a brand new version and a better version of yourself. I was gone for the past week, mainly because, well, a month's worth of daily uploads really start to catch up with you. But while I was on vacation, I was still keeping tabs on what was going on in the NBA and, of course, the NFL and, of course, YouTube news, because I have 3 channels on those topics. And the moment that I saw this story, which, by the way, it originally came out like 2 days ago, on Shaquille O'Neal and Rudy Gobert, I rolled my eyes and said, okay, here we go again. Because we're at the point in my career that Shaq takes so many shots and throws so much shade at modern day NBA centers that I think I might as well begin to create its own playlist, because this is the 3rd time it's happened in about a month and a half. So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here, and before we get started on this upload, I wanted to shout out to my latest Mike Mafia supporters that either joined on brand new channel memberships or rejoined on channel memberships. So shout out to Neo Real, Rodney Braden Jr., Alex Bonilla Mejia, Isaiah Torres, and Parnell for rejoining this channel as a member. If you want to ever support our channel further, it's a $2.99 monthly charge, and you do get shouted out every single time you join. Of course, if you want additional ways to get shouted out, just follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and you could have an opportunity to see your takes featured on our channel. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro.
Everybody out there, don't ever give up on your dreams. You can fucking do it. I swear, just keep fighting. I swear to God, don't ever give up on yourself, man.
2 months ago, right when Dwight Howard finally was able to capture the championship that has been eluding him for 15 years, Shaquille O'Neal had this to say about the Lakers center that was clearly a role player at that point, that clearly posed no threat to his legacy whatsoever.
You know what I don't like as a player, though?
What's that?
So a lot of players on their little Instagram bragging like they were the reason they got the championship. I ain't gonna say no names.
There was a lot of that going on.
I ain't gonna say no names.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Sit your ass down. You didn't do nothing. Stop it.
But I already know who you're talking about.
You know it too.
I know you know who I'm talking about. Stop it.
There
Front runner.
By the way,
bandwagon jumper. Stop it. Stop it. Don't be talking to me like you know players. Sit your ass down.
By the way, Lakers front office.
Post one pick and sit your ass down.
By the way, Lakers front office.
Follow your dreams, and I can't do this. Shut your ass up.
Stop it.
You ain't do nothing.
Seriously.
Oh, wait a minute now.
And then, of course, a few weeks later, Shaq happened to throw shade at Anthony Davis just 2 weeks after Anthony Davis signed a 5-year, $190 million contract extension to return to the Los Angeles Lakers. And I don't even think that was really that bad. We made a video on it where Shaq essentially said that Anthony Davis isn't necessarily a traditional center, which I guess you could say is true because the traditional center is extinct in today's NBA, at least for the most part. You don't see a lot of traditional centers starting for NBA teams. The only ones that come to my mind are maybe DeAndre Jordan, Rudy Gobert, Andre Drummond for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm sure there's more that I'm just forgetting because this is all off the top of my head. But when Rudy Gobert signed a 5-year, $205 million contract extension from the Utah Jazz, well, Shaq had some words to say about that, saying, "I'm not gonna hate, but this should be an inspiration to all the little kids out there. You average 11 points in the NBA and you can get $200 million. The silver lining is he is a great agent, and I'm happy for him and his family. With the new rules, you have a pot of money and you have to spend that money. I'm happy for him, but this is a moment for a lot of kids who think they can't make it." Now look, Rudy Gobert definitely had a very interesting 2020, especially considering the fact that he famously touched the microphones when he had coronavirus, which ended up resulting in the league shutting down for a few months. He got into it with Donovan Mitchell for a little bit, and he is indeed a 11.8 points per game scorer throughout his entire career. But he is also a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he might be the best defensive center in the NBA today, arguably. But then you have to take into consideration that Rudy Gobert didn't just sign with the Los Angeles Lakers or the Los Angeles Clippers. He signed with the Utah Jazz, who are a very small market team. You don't necessarily see Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, or any other marquee free agent saying, hey, let's team up in Utah. As beautiful as Utah is, that's not necessarily a destination for free agents. So as a result, when Utah finally is able to draft high quality talent like Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, they essentially have to overpay them in order for them to stay. That's the only reason why Rudy Gobert got overpaid to stay in Utah, while Anthony Davis essentially took a pay cut to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Shaq could also be upset because he was a career 23.7 points per game scorer, but the most he's ever made in a season was $27.7 million, which is $14 million less than what Rudy Gobert is going to be making over this new 5-year extension. But that's not all that went down between these two. This is just what happened a few days ago, because Shaq came back again and posted a dedicated post on Instagram of him dunking over Rudy Gobert, saying, I would have had 45 points, 16 rebounds, 10 missed free throws in 3 quarters. He would have had 11 points, 4 rebounds, and fouled out in 3 quarters. I'm a G. And then Rudy Gobert even commented on the post with a bunch of laughing emojis saying, I guess we'll never know. So now we transition to Twitter, where a Twitter page by the name of SLC Dunk quote tweeted Shaq's Instagram post saying that this is the most random beef ever, which I think all of us agree with for the most part, because apparently Shaq seems to come out of nowhere with these opportunities to throw shade at modern NBA centers. It seems like anytime a modern NBA center is doing well, Shaq has to come out and remind the entire NBA that during his time, he was better. Very typical old head type of thinking. But then you have Rudy Gobert that quoted this tweet saying that there is no beef. If people want to keep speaking negatively about me or keep discrediting what I do, it's on them, and all that does is show who they are. I will always be happy for a brother beating the odds, and I'm gonna keep beating the odds. It's like I said on my Twitter account about YouTube, there's 2 types of people in the world. There's feast thinkers or famine thinkers. There's those that think that there's plenty for everyone to eat and for everyone to be successful and genuinely root for their competitors, quote unquote, a competitor's success. And then there's those individuals that get very upset if a specific guy is doing better than them. For example, getting on a podcast and making fun of an individual's content just for his content doing better than all those other members of the podcast. And in this scenario, it appears as though Rudy Gobert is a feast thinker. He wants everyone else that's a center and in the NBA to be successful and chase the bag. Whereas Shaq appears to be a famine thinker, thinking that there's only so much money to go around and so much success to go around that he better knock down those other centers in the NBA that are starting to rise up. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this latest beef between, well, I don't know if you could even call it a beef, but this little exchange between these 2 remarkable centers. Aside from that, I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.